Meanwhile, Wisconsin, I love that state. It's seen as one of the most competitive toss-up states this November. The primary is less than 2 weeks away. Polls show my next guest as the Democratic frontrunner for governor. She is a state assemblywoman and a Democratic socialist, and she is not shy from far-left proposals. Take a listen to this.
Rapid fire. Do you support repealing Act 10?
Yes.
Universal child care?
Yes.
Free school meals?
Yes.
Guaranteed pay leave?
Yes.
Abolishing ICE?
Yes.
A 1-year data center moratorium?
Yes.
Breaking up big ag?
Yes.
Public grocery stores?
Yes.
Right to repair?
Yes.
Legalizing cannabis?
Yes.
Overturning Citizens United?
Yes.
A workers' bill of rights?
Yes.
A free Palestine?
Yes.
And Francesca Hong is a candidate for Wisconsin governor. And even yesterday, it looks like you will be the nominee, as another one of your closest competitors, who is even far behind you, has dropped out of the race. Is there anything in that list of what you told Hassan Piker that you disavow now?
No.
Okay. Is there anything in the DSA platform that you disagree with?
Yes.
Okay. What would that be?
Abolishing the Senate. I believe it's nonsensical and non-practical at this time.
Okay. Would you abolish the Supreme Court?
No.
And
I believe in checks and balances.
Okay. So you consider yourself a Democratic socialist, is that correct?
Yes.
Would you defund the Department of War?
Define it?
Well,
I think it's
take away the money from the Defense Department?
No, I think it's troubling how many times they've failed an audit, and they're one of the highest funded agency. And I think that stewardship of taxpayer dollars is incredibly important, that where there may be fraud, waste, or abuse, that we make sure to vet the agency.
Okay. Would you advocate for public ownership of America's largest corporations, or those in Wisconsin?
I have to say, first of all, we are incredibly proud of our Green Bay Packers, a publicly owned NFL team. But I believe there are some manufacturing and corporation that is irresponsible to have full public control.
Like what?
No, I think it depends really on the type of mega corporation. We know that here in Wisconsin, we'd like to bring more middle manufacturing, that when jobs were sent overseas, when there was more desire for profit over the people of Wisconsin, that we can be selective and put working class people first when it comes to jobs and mega corporations.
Do you think you would be able to recruit corporations to come to Wisconsin to then be taken over by the state government?
No, I don't think that it would be responsible for the state to bring in a mega corporation.
All right.
That would potentially be run by the state. I think that we want to create good jobs with good benefits and ensure that people have the freedom to pursue the type of life they would like. And I think when I talk to voters all across the state, it is so much about being able to take care of themselves and their loved ones. There is deep concern about people who get to age with dignity in our state. I care a lot about our seniors and making sure that we're one of the states where there's a great opportunity for great public education.
Okay, so you say people want to take care of themselves, and I agree, but the socialist program is for the government to take care of people. And I know that you've bristled a little bit about anyone pointing out previous things that you have said, but I just want to show everybody on the board here. This is some of your far left posts. I would say they're pretty far left, right? It's, for example, you say abolish the Senate. You want ICE out of Wisconsin. I understand the abolishing ICE is something you probably still want, but you also said to defund the police 4 times. And you want to defund the police as a first step towards abolishing the police. Now, President Trump won Wisconsin twice. It is the ultimate purple state. I set my novel there for a reason. It is the place where you have to have the most appeal to both sides or to independent voters. Why shouldn't people take you at your word when you say that you want to defund the police and go towards abolishing it?
Dana, first of all, I have to say thank you so much for featuring my home state in your novel. And I
You're welcome.
believe that as a as a democratic socialist, what that means is that I would like to put working class people first over
How
mega
does defunding the
corporations
police
or
put
the
working class people
and,
first? I mean, I think that
well, we,
you're about to enter into a general election, likely with Tom
mhm.
Tiffany, the Republican. That's not going to be an easy race. It's going to be very easy for people to put up on the board and say, you said abolish the Senate, defund the police, abolish the police. And why should they not believe that you would want to do that you would try to do that if you became governor?
I believe that people can evolve. We meet Trump voters from previous elections who now would like to vote for me, who have a sign in their yard.
So who
I
needs to
believe
evolve,
that
the voter
the
or
governor
you?
cannot defund the police, and I won't defund the police,
So
but I
you have
will invest
evolved.
in the things we know prevent crime, like getting guns off of our street, making sure there is victims for justice, that there are, places where our kids can go after school and thrive. We can't be tough on causes. We have to be tough on causes if we would like to be tough on
Okay.
crime. And as governor, I cannot defund the police. And I've reminded folks that I won't defund the police.
Okay. Well, that will be certainly, it'll be something that your opponent brings up. Here's a poll from Marquette. Always a good poll. This is Tom Tiffany up at 43 to 40 if you put you two up together. He also has quite a fundraising advantage, but I would say that the DSA candidates have a lot of volunteerism. Do you welcome the DSA endorsement and or volunteers to help on your campaign?
Well, I did not pursue the national DSA endorsement. My home chapter in Madison, we were so proud to run the free school meals campaign to make sure that our kids didn't have lunch debt. And I think that when you look at the polling right now, it's really so much about making sure that we're talking about the issues. And I think that in when it comes to my opponent, it's it's wonderful to see that we have more donors and individual donations that he does, that we already are up in those numbers because donations from 72 out of 72 counties, every state in the country. And the fact that our ground game is a multiracial, multi-generational,
Yeah.
multi-faith. Or,
Yeah, and
and
I've
I would
read,
say
and I've read some
bipartisan
pieces, big,
coalition,
long feature pieces where
100,000
they've
doors
talked
that
to.
we hit.
I just want to compliment you. I've read pieces where
Sure.
you've talked to Trump, where the reporters talk to Trump voters and say she's very affable. They kind of like what you have to say. It's going to be an interesting race. We will cover it. I have one last question for you. Are you personally a dues-paying member to the DSA?
In my home chapter in Madison, I have been since 2020. And I believe that as a democratic socialist, I'm less defined by just one organization, but clearly our bipartisan coalition means that I'm more defined by being a good single mom, that I am a service industry worker, that I truly believe in legislation that helps everyone. And
Okay.
these are the things that people want to talk about in rural and urban parts of the state.
All right. Francesca, we are bumping up against a break. We appreciate you coming on.
Dana, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, take care, Francesca.